Guys, welcome back. So today in hairstyles I'm too old for but will still wear. Just kidding. But I seriously don't know how Ariana Grande can like pull this off and she's almost 30. I think it's just because she looks like she's 15. But no, today's video is going to be about panning and what I've learned so far from doing makeup panning projects. And so to preface, I should mention that I've only been doing this for a couple of months now, but I already feel like I've learned a little bit about myself and my makeup preferences and uses and things like that, and like how I like to implement panning into that routine. So I thought I would share with you guys how I'm feeling about it so far, and like maybe some, I guess, tips for anyone who wants to start panning, just to make it more of a positive experience for you, I guess, because it's been like a journey for me, which sounds ridiculous, but yeah. Okay, so first thing I kind of learned with panning is that at least I kind of thought it would make me want to purchase less makeup, because I would be like, oh, look how much stuff I have to go through, and like I would feel the motivation to finish things, and I do feel the motivation to finish things, but like it doesn't get rid of the desire to buy new makeup. So if you're planning on doing it because you're like, oh, it'll just remind me of all the great stuff that I already own and stuff, like because you think that's going to help, I guess, distract you from new releases or make you feel less inclined to buying new releases, it didn't really go that way for me. I still wanted to buy new makeup just as much as I did before. So if that's the reason you're trying to do it, just know that it probably won't take away that like urge to buy new makeup, because it definitely didn't for me. So the next thing is that I learned is that not all panning projects are going to be like for me. Like it's a very individual thing, I guess, and for me, I learned that I like to really be choosy with the makeup I want to use, and so doing any kind of like random or roulette style type projects isn't really going to work for me unless I have a little bit of control in some aspect. So like if it's something where I randomly generate like a brand, but then I can choose a product from that category or whatever, that kind of thing, I really like doing those kind of panning projects. But if it's just randomly selecting a product and I have no say in the matter and it's just completely random, I don't like that as much, because then I'm ending up with products that I don't really like necessarily, or don't really want to be using. And I guess you could say that means I should probably just declutter them, but sometimes it's like a certain shade in a palette and I like the rest of the palette, so I'm not going to declutter it. But like at the same time, if I get randomly drawn like the one crappy shade, it's really boring and not fun, and it almost like ruins the fun of doing your makeup when you don't get to like be inspired by it anymore. At least that's how I felt about it. So I would say like experiment by doing a few different pan projects and see which one you find yourself more like enjoying more. That's kind of what I'm trying to do right now, because I found the first one that I started, which was the Pan Those Eyeshadows Roulette, a little bit like not the best project for me, just because it ended up giving me like I just explained, basically exactly the situation I just explained. So I'm glad that I learned that, and now I'm kind of going into more projects where I have a little bit more choice in the matter of what I want to pan. That helps me for a few reasons, like obviously the creativity aspect, like I mentioned, but also I have a few things in my collection that are older or that are nearing completion anyway, and so I like to be able to try and use those if I can. So yeah, that was one thing that I kind of learned early on that is gonna impact how I go about panning going forward. And I've really learned how long it takes. Like, I'm sure if you've seen other videos about what people have learned through panning, they all say this, but you don't really know until you do it, how long it actually takes you to use up an entire eyeshadow or an entire other powder product or even a lipstick or anything like that. It's really been eye-opening to see how long these things really last, because it always feels like you're using it, you know, using it up or whatever, but then when you actually start trying to use it up, you realize it lasts like a pretty long time. So that's something I'm kind of like learning throughout this process. And just try not to be too hard on yourself or too strict on yourself if you're going to do a panning project, because some people, like I just finished watching another girl's video, I can't remember her name at the moment, but she was like just doing her regular panning like update video, and she had mentioned that she kept track of how many times she used a shadow, and there was like a shadow that she showed it like last month or whatever. It was like basically new. It had been used like maybe once or twice, and she said she used it 5 times in that month and she hit pan. So what that illustrates to me is that people use their makeup differently, because for me, I could never hit pan on an eyeshadow after like 5 to 10 uses. Like it would take me at least like 25 or 30 before I'm hitting pan on an eyeshadow. So the reason why that is, I don't know. I mean, it could be different formulas, but even in, like, she was showing examples of formulas that I'm familiar with, and I still couldn't believe that, because I don't know, I just couldn't believe it. Like, I guess some people just really go ham into their makeup when they're doing their makeup, or maybe they have just like a lot more eyelid space or what, I don't know. But I just know for myself, like, there's no way I'd be able to use it that quickly. So if you're doing a panning project, either on Instagram or YouTube or wherever else you're documenting your progress, like, don't feel defeated if other people are finishing things like way quicker than you, because I guess that's just the way it goes. Like, I can't believe how fast some people finish their product, and I don't know if they're just like using more than they need to, or I don't really have an explanation for it. But all I'm saying is, if that's not the rate of speed that you're at, it doesn't mean you're like failing at it or anything like that. Just work through it as naturally as you would normally use makeup. Don't like try and go extra hard just because you're panning it, because that's just a waste. So that's one more thing I learned. And another thing I feel like, it's not necessarily something I learned, but it's something I appreciate, is that sense of accomplishment you get after you finally hit pan or something and feel like you're getting your money's worth out of something. And also the moment when you can actually declutter something because it's totally gone, that just like feels so good. So I've decided to kind of try and implement this, not like strictly, like not like in the sense that I'm tracking what I'm doing all the time, but like just casually I've tried to implement that to other things in my life, like in my household, that are pannable, I would say. So for example, I have this candle going right behind me right here. And I realized throughout my decluttering this past month or so that I have a bunch of old scented candles that I used to burn them a lot, like when I was in college and stuff. And then, I don't know, I just kind of stopped. And I've got some that I never threw away that are still, like some are even brand new, and some of them are like half done. And I've just kind of like been getting in the routine of just like actually enjoying things, burning candles and enjoying scented candles like I used to, and just like using things up, and it actually, like, I enjoy it more, I feel like, once I feel, I don't know, it must be psychological, I guess, but I just kind of feel like once I finish this candle up, it will be decluttered, and it's just one less thing that I have to store in a cupboard. And so it's like I'm enjoying it as it's going. I'm enjoying the ambiance, you know, of the candle. I'm enjoying the scent, and then when it's done, I'm enjoying throwing it away. So I guess I just kind of like to take panning into other areas of my life as I go into more of a minimalist kind of mindset and more of a declutter mindset for this year. But yeah, it's been like fun to be able to pan some of my makeup. I still have way too much, as you can clearly see behind me, but I am going through it slowly. And if you're interested in seeing updates on all the projects that I'm doing, just make sure you subscribe to this channel, because at the end of every month is kind of when I do the majority of my update videos. The one exception to that is I am participating in the, what's it called? Roulette Pan Collab, I think it's called. It's basically a collaboration project using a spreadsheet that like a bunch of other girls on YouTube are using. And we all kind of, I guess, upload the update videos at the same time, and that happens to be mid-month. So all of my personal like panning projects I update at the end of the month, and then that one is just kind of thrown in there in the middle. But yeah, so basically spread out throughout the month, you'll get some panning content from me if you're into that. It is really, for some reason, satisfying just to see my own progress and to watch other people's progress as they're doing these projects. I just think it's really interesting to just see how people work through their makeup, and it really helps you to make smarter spending decisions like with your makeup in the future, because after this, like I'm kind of able to see what shades I like really enjoy using or use frequently, and which ones that I'm just kind of like about, or which ones like that I maybe am trying to pan but I realize it's a lot harder because I don't enjoy it as much, or it's not a flattering color on me. Like, I don't know. So yeah, it's something I would like definitely encourage people to try, and like if it's not for you, then there's nothing saying you can't just stop doing it at any time. But it is really fun to just see, especially when you do a lot of photos or videos like documenting your progress. Like, it's really cool to look back and be like, wow, I remember when that palette was like brand new, and now look how much use I've gotten out of it. It really makes you feel a lot better about the amount of money you spent on it when you're actually using it. So yeah, that was just kind of my thoughts regarding like pan projects and like how things are going with panning just in general, and like for me mentally, how it's making me feel a little bit better about using things up and getting them out of my life. Because it's not like I want these things out of my life exactly. Because if I did that badly, I could just throw them away, you know? But like, it's not that at all. It's like I enjoy using my makeup. I really do enjoy it. But I also enjoy the feeling of moving on to like new makeup, you know? And like, the more I take out of my collection, the more I can bring in, and I can start, you know, start fresh with like some new stuff, and it's really fun. So yeah, that's about all I have to say for this video. Like I said, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next one, which will be tomorrow, because I do upload videos every single day. At least for now. I am going into the busy season at work, so if that has to change, that has to change. I don't know. I'm hoping to be able to at least like pre-film so that I can maintain the once a day, one video per day schedule, but I can't really make that a promise at this point in time. I really need to wait and see how things go with work. So as somebody who's like running their own business and is self-employed, like it's a lot harder to, it's not like I work a 9 to 5 where I can like easily predict when and how and what kind of a schedule I'm gonna have. So I'll just have to keep you guys updated on that. But yeah, so thanks for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, thanks guys, bye.